Hey folks, we're back with day 7 of RPG a Day, and our question today is smartest RPG you have played. Well, I'm not that smart, but Newman, who's taking this one?
Well, that's going to be me, and I'm not that smart either. So,
Fantastic. Step right up and tell us all about it.
Okay, so what we're looking at today, and I think I'm going to bend the question a little bit. So, apologies if you're going, that's a cop out. But the smartest RPG I think I've played, it's because of a specific mechanic. It's about emotional intelligence. So what I'm going to do is show you this. Oh, I'm going to show you this Delta Green. So we all, especially if we play Call of Cthulhu, we're probably familiar with Delta Green. I think what it is with Delta Green for me that adds that level of, smart is it's the emotional intelligence that comes from having bonds. So I know in Call of Cthulhu, we all probably work really hard as investigators and keepers to really get that emotional, not just connections from player to investigator, but investigator to their profession and their lives. But what Delta Green does, I think, really, really, really well is it has those bonds. So you can create relationships with people that when you commit certain actions, like when you lose sanity or when you see certain things, or when you commit certain actions, like I'm going to execute this horrific cultist because they are the problem, it's going to have an impact on you, and it's going to have an impact on how you relate to your bonds. So that's something in Call of Cthulhu, which I know a lot of us put in, but it's actually officially in the bonds within there. So it's this really nice idea of being able to kind of do that and kind of build that play into it. I was talking to Cosmic about this earlier, and I've talked to Pete Burgess about this quite a lot. In a short one-off, the bonds probably don't play out that well, but I think if you were ever lucky enough to play like an X-Files type campaign or a series of games, the bonds just can become so beautiful in that longer storytelling scenario. But I'll chuck it out, guys. What's going on with you guys in your smartest role-playing games? What have you got out there?
Usually, if the role-playing game is too smart, I won't play it. There have been some seriously complicated games. What was it? There was a hallowed Doctor Who role-playing game around the time of Sylvester McCoy's Doctor, where role-playing games were big and everyone was clamoring for a Doctor Who one. It came out in this book, and you just flicked through this book, and it was too smart.
Was that because it was too rules heavy?
Too rules heavy. There was lots of mechanics, and I don't think the book had been edited, right. So it kind of like didn't quite add up. But if it's too complicated, that's why I love the basic role playing game. It's so simple, you can just pick it up. But how about you guys? Stunned silence. Everyone is
Lydia, smartest game. Come on. Or smartest mechanic.
Oh my word. Smartest mechanic. I'm going to go back to Unhallowed Metropolis, actually, and say the corruption path, which is something every single one of your characters that you play in Unhallowed Metropolis is flawed somehow. But it's not just like a personality flaw. You can also choose something like a monstrosity, something that is very wrong with you physically, and maybe you're going to start malforming into some kind of monstrous Jekyll and Hyde type creature. The more you do and the more darkness you see and the more you commit and the further you fall down into this very dark world of the post-zombie apocalypse, the more monstrous you become.
That sounds kind of cool.
It's a lot of fun.
Anything before we wrap this one up?
I'm pretty much the same as you, Cosmic. If it's too tricky, I'll generally stick to something more simple.
As I say, there's so many games out there to play. People writing role-playing games. Got to get that balance right. So, cool. Well, that's end of day 7. Let's see what tomorrow brings for us.